Good evening. It's good to have you with us here on this Wednesday evening at 6:30. We did decide to cancel church tonight due to this COVID thing going on. It's really looking rough, and so at least for this week, we're not going to have Wednesday night service, but we will have Sunday morning, God willing. Tonight we're going to show, though, a video that was done at Christian Television Network over in Largo, and it was done this last week. It aired today on CTN, and it's airing tomorrow. But we would like to show this video. This is where Darlene Greenlee interviewed me and interviewed Drew about New Beginnings and what we do and the work we do here. It's an excellent video. So enjoy this video, and then we'll look forward to seeing you Sunday. Thank you.
Welcome to Bay Focus. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're so happy to have you here. We are always honored to feature ministries that are getting out into the community and changing lives. And boy, do we have one of those today. You want to stay tuned for the whole show. New Beginnings of Tampa. What they do to pluck people out of homelessness and give them hope and self-sufficiency and meet their physical and spiritual needs is unbelievable. They work a lot with veterans as well, and you are going to want to stay tuned. It's been a while since we've had them on the show, but we periodically update you on this ministry in Tampa, and we're going to just give you a little bit of a look at it right now. Let's take a look at New Beginnings of Tampa.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tom Atchison, founder of New Beginnings of Tampa. 18 years ago, my wife Jenny and I saw that there was a need to house homeless women. From that inspiration, New Beginnings of Tampa was born. Today, New Beginnings houses and serves over 200 formerly homeless people in the Tampa Bay area. New Beginnings is a place where the homeless come to heal from life's tragedies and despairs. The majority of people that come to New Beginnings are physically broken and feel spiritually hopeless. For many, life is no longer worth living. Dramatically, at New Beginnings, these same people find hope and a reason to live.
Here at New Beginnings, they help out the veterans. There's many veterans with many problems. They're out there, they serve their country. They need a break too,
With a knowledgeable, caring staff and a loving environment, these individuals regain their physical strength and a sense of purpose.
This is a transition housing, and it's for you to get yourself into your own place once again, be reestablished in society.
New Beginnings is just that, a new beginning. Hope and inspiration are given out in large portions. The individual is treated like an individual. He is given respect and love in order to build his self-esteem. The goal is to again create a productive citizen for the betterment of society.
They feed you, they house you, and if you need a fresh start, in my opinion, this is a great place to give some help to that'll benefit a veteran.
New Beginnings needs your financial support to continue to meet the needs of these forgotten people.
Nobody stays here for over 6 months or 3 months, whatever. Your contribution is not in vain. It is going for a good cause.
I think this would be a very good situation to donate your money to, because the veterans really need you.
New Beginnings needs your help and assistance so that we can grow in a much stronger way and to continue to operate to help other veterans.
Some of our clients at New Beginnings might be your friends, your neighbors, or even a loved one. The pains and the sufferings of life do not discriminate against any person. They need your help. We need your help. Because once it's all said and done, everyone's life matters.
Well, that gives you a look at New Beginnings, and boy, are they changing lives. And we have a couple of gentlemen with us today that we're going to continue the conversation started in that video that we're so honored to have with us. We have Dr. Tom Atchison with us, who is the president of the organization, founder as well of New Beginnings, and pastor of the church, New Life Church. And you just saw him in the video. Thank you for joining us. And you brought with you again, the last time you were here, David Drew, who does the music at the church, leads the music, but has an incredible testimony of himself, life change through New Beginnings. And, you know, for those of us that, you know a little bit about the whole rock and roll, I throw myself in there because I grew up in the whole rock and roll generation. You know, David has incredible testimony coming out of that, which is why you're seeing his guitar. And we're going to get to that in a little bit, and how God has taken that gift. And we're also going to get to one of his music videos as well. So we're looking forward to that. But we're going to hold off on talking to David for a little bit. I'm going to start with you, Pastor Tom, because one thing I want to pick up to start with, how many people do you have right now? This is a whole residential facility, a full program that your residents go through. How many are you working with right now, people?
Well, right now we have about 200 total.
Yeah.
We have about 50 to 60 veterans, and then some a wide variety of types of people. There's people that come off the streets that have severe drug habits.
Yeah.
There are those that just have life skill problems. Some people just need temporary shelter. So, you know, we kind of cover the whole gambit of the needs out there.
Yeah, and how do you start this? Give us the steps of the program. Like, what happens first and what goes from there?
Well, let's say somebody comes in and says, I need help. I have this drug habit, and they'll go, Pastor Tom, what do I got to do? I'll do anything, you know. And usually I find that wanting to get off drugs and alcohol is not enough. They got to not only want it, there's some things they have to do. So a lot of times we'll say, well, if you come in our program, you're going to go to meetings every morning, you're going to go to church, you're going to go to AA, NA meetings, Bible study, and then a lot of times we'll ask them, we'll say, well, give us your phone. And a lot of times that's where we find out if they're really serious, you know. They'll do anything, and then you ask them for their phone, and they go, oh, I can't give up my phone. Then you know you don't have somebody serious.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to basically get them to basically put their life into your hands, if they're going to really get help. And then from that point on, it's a matter of going through the steps, going through the program.
Yeah, and what are do you have particular areas, and we're going to show on the screen too. You have particular services that you provide. Tell us the different ones that you do.
Well, we do some feeding on the street, although we've kind of transitioned from that a little bit more into trying to help families. Women and kids, where maybe they make enough money to not be able to get government services, but not enough to pay the bills and have groceries. So we give out a lot of food boxes every week as kind of the ground level thing. And then, of course, we have a veterans program where we work with the VA. We bring in veterans, and they're with us for about 2 to 3 months, depending on. And while they're with us, we case manage them. A lot of them don't have drug and alcohol problems. They just have poor life decisions that have brought them there. So we try to get them a job or get them a disability, whatever it is they need, and then get them into an apartment. In other words, the job is to get them out of our place as soon as we can, you know.
Yeah.
And then we also, we have, of course, we have about 20 women. My wife runs that program, and a lot of the women, they come out of domestic situations, violence, drug and alcohol problems. So you have to deal with all those emotional issues. And of course, it really starts with them putting them all at the foot of the cross.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, it's a matter of the disciplines, learning to get a routine in their life, those kind of things.
Trying to get them to a point where they get job placement as well?
Yeah, a major part of recovery really is working and getting your old legal problems solved, bills paid, and getting a sense of accomplishment there. But having a job and working hard is actually a big part of recovery. People who sit around all day and smoke cigarettes and talk about all their old war stories and how they're going to quit using drugs, normally it doesn't happen. They need to get out, get working, getting their before they leave our place.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't, if they just leave with their backpack and they don't have anything, they're probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
They need to get their bills paid, maybe a car back, get a job, have an apartment, and really just get a life back. And that's all a part of recovery.
Okay, we want to show a few pictures here. You mentioned the food distribution that you've done, and we have some pictures of the. We're just going to let those roll. So what are we seeing here? Are they actually come up and drive up, and you give them?
We've had that. We've had that happen where there's quite a few boxes there. We distribute a lot of food boxes. We don't do so much feeding on the street anymore, but like what you see there with the boxes, we give out boxes to families, to people that really need them. We right now with Sulphur Springs Elementary School, we give out about 30 boxes a week now that school's starting again, and we give them to the school, and they determine which families need it the most, and distribute that to needy families in the area.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to let these pictures roll, and what has been, and we're going to see some pictures in a little bit. You've had some, and when we get to them, we'll talk about them. But this has probably been a challenging year with the pandemic. I would think the needs are so great for this right now.
Yes, because a lot of people, they're out of work or they're at home, and that No Kid Hungry is part of that program where we give to Sulphur Springs Elementary. But the COVID has made it where a lot of people are just depressed.
Yeah.
And sometimes giving them a box of food, it's not so much the food, it's the showing that you care. That means as much or more than the actual food.
Yeah, okay. And then there's been some people that come through, and we're going to get David's story in just a minute, but you have some really stories of lives changed. How would you say that, you would like to talk about recidivism and, how many people are coming back a second time or whatever. What's been the success rate? What have you really seen?
Well, with many people, we go through a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
They come in, they start doing good, and they love us. Oh, Pastor Tom, you saved my life.
Yeah.
And then something happens where they use, and we have to put them out. And it's like, and you call yourself a Christian, you're doing this to me, we're going to call Channel 8, we're going to call the Tampa Bay Times, we're going to call Code, and we're going to destroy your ministry. And then a week later, they're calling me saying, Pastor Tom, I'm sorry I said all that, please bring me back, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
And sometimes...
We're seeing some people here. What are we seeing here too? Are these some examples of
feeding people.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah. I thought these might be a few testimony photos here. Okay, we're still on that.
But, then they come back, and sometimes it takes some of them to go in and out. You have to put them out. Sometimes you got to put them out and then go in your office and cry.
Yeah.
Because you hate to have to do it. But sometimes then they get back out on the street, they get robbed and pillaged and who knows what. And then they come back, and sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 4 times, or sometimes many times, before they actually finally are ready to surrender everything and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. What do I got to do?
Yeah.
And that's when they're usually ready to really get recovery.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I want to do here is I want to take a break because we want to give an example with David sitting next to you. He's an example of a life change. I want people to see this and hear his story. So stay tuned with Bay Focus. We're going to be right back, and you're going to hear the tremendous testimony and see a music video from David Drew, who has just had an awesome life change through New Beginnings of Tampa. We'll be right back. Hello, my name is Darlene Greenlee, and I want to invite you to join us each week on Bay Focus. We are going to highlight local ministries, community organizations, events, concerts. Reporter Brooke Rathmel goes behind the scenes to get the interviews you want to see. I hope you will join me each week on Bay Focus. Well, we're back and we're talking with New Beginnings of Tampa. And David, it's our opportunity to talk to you. Wow, what a testimony you have. You've been on the show in the past, but we've got brand new viewers that have not heard it. Give us how you ended up at New Beginnings.
Well, a lifetime of addiction, and basically wound up on the streets in Hillsborough County near Tampa, living in the bushes, you know, in August in Florida. And I had just had enough. I was doing drugs, and I just stopped the drugs, and I needed help. And I went to New Beginnings of Tampa. Somebody in prison actually told me about New Beginnings and Pastor Tom. And I went and showed up at New Beginnings and was met by a lovely gentleman who told me I was going to be okay. And he said, God's going to take care of you. And I was raised in an atheist household, you know, when I was a kid. And I was like, well, okay, this sounds okay, though. And right now, I think I need God, you know.
Yeah.
And that gentleman has passed on, but that's when it started. It was 10 years ago, August 8th. So.
And you had, you know, prior to spiraling into the life of addiction and homelessness, you had a career in music, in rock music. Tell us a little bit about that.
I did. Well, I had always wanted to be a musician, and you know, I went and got a record deal, lived in New York City, and but even in the midst of my career, the addiction had started, and it kind of prematurely ended it, you know. So
yeah.
It was already going, but yeah, you know, had an album out on a major label, did touring and all that stuff. All the while, that addiction was just, you know, and eventually it made it impossible for me to continue to have a career, you know, to be available and, you know, to be relied upon, and I could not be, you know, so.
Well, and then now all of this has come full circle because you are now able to use your music.
Yeah.
Now that you've gotten a relationship with the Lord, but that's a big part of what they do is, you know, it had to get beyond you walking in the door saying, oh, I think I need God. He had to find God.
Yeah.
So did it take long?
It was
Did you have to work through some stuff to finally really fully?
It was a process. It was a transformational process that, you know, there was a few Holy Spirit moments involved at some Christian concerts that I went to, actually, and just, you know, getting in the Word and stuff like that. And
I love that.
And it all just came together. And then after that, I started doing the music at our church, you know, which I've been doing for 9.5 years now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to point out too. This church is for the residents of New Beginnings, but it's open to the public too,
Yeah,
right? Correct.
Kind of half and half.
About half and half. Yeah. I mean, Pastor Tom has a long history of ministry as a pastor too, so it's a great church if you really want to get somewhere and meet the needs of the community. There's a story before we're going to go to a video in just a moment. You're going to tell us about that, but first tell us this guitar story because this is a God thing.
Yeah, this guitar.
Go ahead, just hold it up. Our camera will get it.
Kind of messed up. Poor girl had a hard life. We built it in New York City in 2000, and it came with me to Florida, and it wound up, I pawned it for $60. Now there's $2,000 worth of parts in this guitar. Pawned it for $60 and thought I would get it out the next week, but I didn't. I wound up going to prison, and the guitar sat in a pawn shop for 6 years. Fast forward, I wind up at New Beginnings at Pastor Tom's place, and we happened to be driving by the pawn shop, and I went in, and the guitar was still there. Oh. And the pastor spoke to the owner of the pawn shop, and we were able to get this thing back for a song and a dance.
Unbelievable.
The guy knew he was doing a good deed by giving it back to us, you know. Oh. So it's been back, and now it's making records again.
That's one of those goosebump stories.
And this is from a crack stem burning. I don't know if you can see that. If you zoom in, probably not. Anyway, in my crazy days, a crack stem burnt.
Definitely how you knew it was yours.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Now even the guitar is working for God now.
I
you know.
love it. Okay, set this music video up because you're doing some Christian music. Your rock, kind of a bluesy rock is your style.
Yeah,
Set up it's called Washed in the Water. Tell us about that.
It's just a song I wrote. I've been making an album.
Yeah.
It's been a slow process, but it's starting to all come together right now. The stuff is out in the public, on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. David Drew Music on Facebook.
Yeah.
David Drew Music page. Anyway, this was one of the videos that we shot for the record, and it's called Washed in the Water. And it's about the whole transformational experience. I think it pretty much speaks
Yeah,
for
it does
itself.
speak for itself.
And it was filmed in the water of Tampa Bay.
And you might recognize the pastor doing the baptizing.
That is correct.
Because he's kind of a bit part player, but I don't know, he's there.
Oh, the best part was not on the video, though. While they were shooting the video all day, I was over not too far away fishing. I caught me a couple nice redfish.
He did, yeah.
That should have woven. There's some spiritual,
Yes, of
implications
course.
there. You
Yeah.
could have done the Fishers of Men.
Fisher of Men, yeah.
Yeah, well, Pastor Tom's done it too. Let's take a look and this video is going to tell the story of David Drew and what God has done in his life. It's called Washed in the Water.
Clean my dirty soul.
Okay, can I tell you that is a water baptism I would have wanted to attend. I can
Absolutely.
tell you that. What an incredible video tells the story. David,
Yep.
thank you for sharing your story with us. And I know we've just done the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
today, but to see a life transform, and you have a number of these, Pastor Tom, that you could tell stories like this, but boy, to have David come alongside you in ministry at the church as well. How can our viewers here at CTN help you the most on a regular basis right now?
Well, of course, they can volunteer to help us with the food and distribution and that, but of course also due to the COVID, it's cost us a lot more money because we can't house as many residents. We have to do a lot of safety measures with this COVID thing, so it's been kind of tough times this last year.
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate though. The COVID, we thought it was really, we could have had a real disaster.
Yeah.
But we really only had 2 cases that went to the hospital out of 200 people. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we've been very fortunate.
That is God's hand of protection for sure.
Yeah, but like I said, financially they could obviously help us. They can go to our website and donate because we could really use some resources right now to help cover the cost of housing the vets, housing the homeless people. A lot of the funding has gotten tighter, due to the COVID. So, yeah, we could really use the help.
I think I want you to accent too, because this is such a big part of what you do. This is something that I saw over the years of your ministry get even more and more into. The veterans, these are veterans that are the homeless veterans, correct, on the street?
Yeah, they're the homeless they're the vets that are displaced, have no place to go.
Yeah.
They're coming to us off the street, and our job is to get them an apartment, get them their life back, and of course, along the way, we want to reach them for the gospel too.
Yeah. I know this is, again, that everything comes back to that. I want to thank you both so much for coming on the program today. And boy, we bring ministries to you. Right now, I've been trying to actually do this over a year and a half? Feels like we're almost going into 2 years of this pandemic. But I'm trying to bring ministries your way that really need help to continue to be sustained. Needs have not stopped during a worldwide crisis. In fact, if anything, they increase. The people on the streets, the people are dealing with addictions. In fact, we know if you watch the news of any kind, suicides have increased, mental health issues, all of these things are addressed at New Beginnings. There's such a need for that. So this is a ministry that you can sow into and you can support financially or also with your time and your abilities for volunteering. And I want to encourage you to contact us here at Bay Focus as well with ministries you think we should highlight and put a spotlight on here on the show. We would love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media as well. We want to stay connected that way. And I hope you'll tune in each week. So happy that you do. And we will see you next week. May God richly, richly bless you.